Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. This is your show where we talk to comedians about sports. We have a great time talking to them about sports and everything else, too. Actually, I love hearing their commentary. I hope you guys do, too. First up is my man on his talent, T. Unlike Rodney Perry saying, he hates my order, I stick to the same order all the time.
That was hilarious, yo. Everything good over here, baby. I'm ready. First, second, third, wherever you got me, I'm there.
Now, you first all the time, and Fig is second all the time. Speaking of Fig, what's going on, bro? How you doing, sir?
Hey, man, it's a great day.
Yeah, I think so. Mike Sean, what's happening?
What up, fellas? What's good? It's almost Friday. It's Friday Eve. Y'all. It's Friday Eve.
I like the way you look at that like that. I like that. So, T, we're going to jump into the show, man. We got a lot to cover. I want to jump into the NBA. As you all know, I really want to. Can't wait to do that, obviously, because my team won. But here's the thing, man. I want to start off with something. We've been talking about Deshaun Watson, literally on and off for his accusations and everything. We've been talking about that for a while. But, T, I'm going to throw this out there, man, and give me your opinion or not. First, here's the news. The news is the attorney for the ladies, his name is Tony Busby. They have now moved forward saying that they're going to add the Houston Texans in the lawsuits and everything against Deshaun Watson. So if this stuff moves forward like the way I think it's moving forward, I'm not sure if Deshaun Watson plays for the Houston Texans for the entire year. And if any of these cases happen to go criminal, which I think there's a possibility on everything else, Deshaun Watson might never play again. That's my opinion. You tell me what you think, in your opinion, now that you know that the Houston Texans are going to be filed in this lawsuit moving forward, and there's a potential of the NFL having its first ever criminal charge against them. What do you think the outlook looks like for Deshaun Watson playing in this league? What's your take on this, T?
I still think he's going to play. I just think that when things are really like criminal, that's the first thing that goes. If you ever look at these cases, you go criminal and then you go civil. The fact that this is a long, drawn-out civil, I don't think is going to get to the criminal part of it. I think that the Texans is just an extra money grab. Like whenever you have a lawsuit, anybody come after somebody, you're supposed to go for everything. You're not going to get everything, but you cover your bases because depending on how rattled people get, how much money you make. So why should I wait and just get these couple of million from him if somehow I can prove that the team has some sort of complicity or some negligence somewhere in it? Who knows? Maybe they were booked through a team agent or something. We don't know.
Yeah, but T, before you finish your commentary, I think the Houston Texans thing is going to stick because Deshaun Watson got a lot of his massages at where Houston is having, when they did away games and everything else. So the Houston thing will stick. I think that part's going to stick. I think whether or not the question will be whether or not it be criminal or civil with the other 66 accusations. So
right. I don't think you could get anything. Here's the thing: if it's criminal, you got a case against the Texans. Now,
right.
If this is something that I do on my own, it's not so easy to prove. It's not so easy to include them in this, is what I'm saying. Just because it happened at an away game or the facility, we all know that because things happen every day at people's property. But that's mano y mano, unless this thing goes criminal. Then now you start connecting the dots. Like, did these people know what was going on and let it happen? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think that would be the case, Fig. I think that's the case. Whether or not the attorney, Tony Busby, can prove whether or not the Houston Texans knew something funky was going on with his massage people and everything else. I think that'd be the hard part. But I still think that they are going to be negligent under some kind of law and everything else because it was under the umbrella of the Houston Texans, while at their training facility. And when they were traveling, he was still doing these massage things with these women. So they're going to be it's like, to me, it's like being a drunk driver. Like you might hit somebody when you're drunk. You're still responsible because you hit them because you were driving. I mean, maybe that's a bad analogy, but what do you think before I even go on this? What do you think, Fig?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like if I'm driving the Ford and I got drunk and I crashed into somebody, you can't sue Ford. You said you was driving the Ford at the time. You can't sue Ford. I mean, listen, it's par for the course, man. That's what attorneys do. They go for the deepest pockets. It's just like, the unfortunate accident when Tracy Morgan and a bunch of other comedians that we all know actually lost a friend in that that tragic accident. But the dude that hit them was driving a Walmart truck. So the attorney sued Walmart because Walmart had the deepest pockets. They could have sued. They could have attached the dude's insurance. You know what I mean? They could have sued the dude personally, but they went for Walmart because he was actually on the clock. Was Deshaun Watson actually on the clock when he did what he did? He wasn't on the clock. And the only time Deshaun Watson's on the clock if he's at the facility. If he was doing this at the facility, then you could sue the Texans. But he wasn't there. He was on his own personal time. So you can try and sue him, but I don't think it's gonna work.
Big, you just made my point. You used a better analogy because he was on the clock, Mike Sean. When they traveled, when they were away, I'm telling you how, when they were away, he was at the facility, and when he was at the facility, at the away facility under the umbrella of the Houston Texans, literally at away games, he used these Mercedes massage therapists. So you used a better analogy by using the Tracy, the Tracy Morgan thing with the Walmart truck. Mike, what's your take, man? Because honestly, I think this Houston Texan thing is gonna stick because when he was at away games, he used these same massage therapists and stuff at the hotels and stuff like that. He brought them into hotels while he was at away games. He did that. So, that part's gonna stick. What you think, Mike? What's your take?
If you read the New York Times article, I was bored, so I said, let me read the New York Times article on this. The reason why the Texans are shook is because they knew all about it and they were complicit in it.
Right.
They actually helped out in it.
Right.
So you're right. If a drunk driver's driving a Ford and the only reason the Ford crashed was because he was drunk, they can't sue Ford. But if something was wrong with that Ford truck and Ford knew something was wrong with the truck and they still sold them the truck, then they're complicit. And the Texans are shook because Roger Goodell is claiming he didn't know what the Texans knew. Like the Texans didn't tell nobody.
Right.
They kept it moving and they were trying to handle this on their own. This is a mess, yo. This is so deeper and all the stupidity on every side. There's one young lady who's not part of the lawsuit. She's not part of the lawsuit. She's not part of the civil case. She's not part of anything. She's the one who said he begged me to give him oral sex. And she said to him, this is what her claim is with the New York Times. Why are you trying to throw your career away for this? Like she was telling him, you're throwing your career away for this if you keep doing this stuff. So the Texans are compliant. Deshaun Watson got his $230 million, and the Browns are screwed because this is going to get worse. This ain't getting no better. This is the tip of the iceberg, whether you believe or don't believe. The one thing that is for sure, this is going to get worse. And the NFL, when the peer pressure comes, is going to wind up, the Browns are going to lose he'll play. He'll probably get suspended 8 games. But that season's a wrap.
Mike, talk to them. I read the article too. Tell me real fast before we move on. Talk to them about what your thoughts are about him possibly playing in it. Because I read the article too. When I read it, the thing I took away from it was that I don't think he'll ever play in the NFL again once everything comes up. So that's my thoughts. I don't think he'll ever going to play in the NFL again.
If they could use any of this article, and if we say they're credible, the New York Times is credible.
Right.
Deshaun got a problem. That's all I'm going to say. There's one thing between us getting massages and doing what we do, and there's another thing when somebody takes it a little further than what is normal. And some of the activity just wasn't normal. Like what? It was just the begging a stranger to please give me a blowjob.
And also,
it didn't even. It was some weirdo-ish, and I'm hey, I'm not a therapist, a psychologist.
And also in the article, it did say this, that there's a possibility of more women that could be. They found 66 women. They found it. There's a possibility it could even be more. So I think honestly, the NFL is going to cut its ties from him, and I think he's in serious trouble. All right, Fig. What? Go ahead, Fig.
I know the papers are sometimes credible to some people. But this is the same paper that said that the Central Park joggers were guilty and they all went to jail. And then it came and found out that they were lying.
Yep, you're absolutely
right.
The
news lies. The newspaper lies. They do it to us all the time, especially when your skin is brown. The newspaper be lying.
I'm not saying that it can't be lying, Fig.
Fig, nobody's saying it can't be lying, but the New York Times. That's a horrible analogy.
But you believe him, no?
No, let me finish. You keep cutting me out. Let me finish. The New York Times went on the new word with the example. You can shake your head all you want. The New York Times went on the information that the police gave them and ran with it. So that's a horrible analogy.
The same people that couldn't find charges, Frank. They couldn't file criminal charges.
That's something ain't right, Frank. Something ain't right. I mean, our numbers. If this is a math class, our numbers are all over the place and discombobulated. Something is not right. You cannot have these amount of women, and you saying that he did all this amount of stuff, and it went this long, and not one single you can't find charge. I'm with Fig on that. Some ain't. It's fish in the tank.
I'm not saying nothing ain't right, but what I'm saying is the analogy he gave the analogy that on the police report with the New York Central 5. New York Times went on an investigation of their own. And that's what they discovered with Deshaun Watson. He used an example of what the police told him and ran with it. So I'm just saying that's a bad analogy by saying the New York Times and Central Park 5. That's a horrible analogy because they were going on all the police documentation that the police wrote and the police were lying.
And I do not think this is sexual. I don't think it's a good analogy. I don't think this is sexual assault. What I'm saying is something just is weird when you read the article on how Deshaun Watson was acting.
Right.
And the inappropriate things that he was going, and it just doesn't make it didn't correlate with what his position is as an NFL quarterback. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the man should be charged criminally. I'm just saying, and I want my words to be correct, this is going to get worse, and the Browns will regret signing this guy to that guaranteed $230 million contract. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because it's so guaranteed that he's going to still get paid no matter what happens. Like now, he's getting paid regardless of what happens. The Cleveland Browns franchise is going to be ruined for a long time for this if he doesn't play. But anyway, let's move on. Let's see what the time is. Okay, I'll talk about the Jack Del Rio story in a second, but let's jump into the NBA because we all know, man. Before we even get into opinions and everything else, do a rapid fire with the NBA team. You saw the game last night, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what your first initial thoughts were of the game, and then I'll get to the questions and everything else.
I thought it was a nice game. I like the flow of the game. That didn't get too out of hand, and Golden State being a road team last night had to play ball and work their way back up to it. It's like a good movie, and then it got all suspenseful in the end because they actually came back up, went up by 1, went up by 2, and it's going back and forth. So that's how I like my fourth quarters. I ain't gonna front. Good game.
So you thought it was a good game overall, everything. Fig, what's your initial take after you saw the game last night?
The same thing. It was a good game. They played it. It was pretty decent. I don't know. That's pretty much it. It was a game. It was back and forth. It wasn't a blowout like 30 points and stuff like that where the game was over in the first or second quarter. And we've seen a couple of those during the playoffs where by halftime the game was over. This one went down to the wire. So it was good. It was a good game.
Okay. Mike Sean.
Went down to the wire. They took their starters out with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Well,
it was a 16-point beatdown.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't over by halftime. I said it wasn't over halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm gonna just say this.
Those points was garbage points, though.
Well, I'll tell you what's garbage was a 7-point play that Golden State got in the third quarter, and they still couldn't take the lead.
Oh, okay.
They still listen. If Golden State, this is a bad matchup, y'all. Like when Steph Curry scores 30 points and Klay Thompson scores 25, and you lose by 16, it's a bad matchup. And I know Klay Thompson played great offensively. Defensively, none of these guys can guard Tatum or Brown off the dribble. None of them. And Steph is the best player on the court. Like, look, God bless him. Steph is the best player on the court right now. What he's doing is absolutely amazing. But I kept saying these role players, these Robin Williams guys, these Jordan Poole's not showing up for Golden State. These guys are crucial. And if those guys like Looney and them ain't going to show up for Golden State, this is a problem. Because I never knew how much more athletic the Celtics were. I just didn't know. I didn't realize that they could rim protect the way they can rim protect. I didn't know. That was my ignorance.
Mike, we've been talking on the phone. I've been telling you this for months. You didn't believe me? You just didn't see
it. No. I didn't know. When I saw it last night, I realized that Klay Thompson can't get to the rim. Mm-hmm. He has to shoot jumpers. Like, and that creates a situation where there's no Celtic player that's in foul trouble because they can't finish. The only guy who's finishing at the rim is Wiggins. And those are open dunks. I just didn't know. So that was my ignorance. My ignorance. I picked Golden State in 7. So I'm probably gonna be wrong.
So T, let me ask you this, man. I know you ended up seeing the Steph Curry incident where he fell to the floor and rumbled and tumbled and everything else. Steph Curry said he got to look at it and everything else. People and Golden State fans have been complaining, saying it was dirty. Celtics fans are saying he just fell to the floor. What's your take on the situation when late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, Steph Curry looked like he got injured, falling to the floor. Al Horford, they were falling to the floor at the scrum. What's your take on that situation?
It was kind of inadvertent. I don't think it was dirty per se. You know what I mean? It was an unfortunate, thing. But those things happen in basketball. You don't have a game of basketball. You don't have 4 or 5 of those little goofy moments where it looked like somebody might have tried to hurt you, or you know what I mean. But that's what basketball is. Once you get, knocked off your axles, if you will, some awkward stuff's going to happen. We've seen, I think we've seen about, especially when it's intense, when you get to like the finals, we're going to see all type of goofy stuff. And you go home questioning it. Did he mean to do that? Was that on purpose? Was that intentional? You can't really say. I think my personal opinion, it's a little inadvertent, in contact and the end results of what they are. But every time you go up and down on the court, man, you risk getting the injury. We know that. These are unfortunate moments, but if I had to vote on it, I'm not voting that it was on purpose and and blatant. No, hell.
All right. So Fig, there was a 7-point possession last night and everything else. That's something I've never seen before my entire life of watching the NBA. Never saw it before and everything else. What was your take on the call? What's your take on the referees making that 7-point possession, making that call ended up being a 7-point possession? What was your take on that?
Okay, first off, they've been calling this call here ever since Kawhi Leonard got injured playing Golden State with Zaza Pachulia. When he closed out on Kawhi Leonard came down on his foot. The very next year, the NBA implemented this rule that you have to give a player enough room to come down. If he steps on your foot for any reason, they've been calling that a flagrant 1. The only reason it was a 7-point play is because Steph just so happened to hit the 3-point. He went to the foul line and he got another one, which is the rule. You get a foul shot and the ball. Now, when you got the ball, sometimes the team scores and sometimes they don't. The Golden State Warriors just so happened to score after they got the ball back, and it was a 3-pointer. So it turned into a 7-point play. But I've seen plenty of times where the player misses the shot, the player goes, he shoots the foul shot, they get the ball back, and then the team don't even score. So the flagrant foul really only turns into 1 point. You can't penalize the Golden State Warriors because they can shoot the damn lights out, and it turned into a 7-point play.
Okay. All right. Mike Sean, Klay Thompson had his game that everybody was expecting him to have. He had the game where they were expecting him to come out and break through game and everything else. He had that, but everybody said basically that if he has a breakout game, that the Golden State Warriors should win. Do you think Golden State is now concerned since he had his breakout game and obviously Steph Curry was lights out, but they still lost? Do you think there's concern, or do you think the Golden State still should be no concern? You still think they're in the driver's seat?
No, they're concerned because Draymond Green is being exposed. He's a non-factor on offense. 2 out of 3 games, he's been a non. I've never seen a guy who everybody is like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer ever be this bad in 2 out of 3 NBA Finals games. Like literally, they're not defending him. Like they're doing a Ben Simmons on him when he shoots a jumper now. And if you're not going to pull down 10 rebounds and have 8 assists, which what he normally does, and affect the game that way, there's no use for him then. If he's not going to run the boards and he's not going to have assists, he can't shoot. That's what they're worried about because there's no way to switch that up right now. I mean, unless he starts making – if Draymond keeps playing the way he's playing, the series is over. The series is over. because last night he was useless, and I've never seen him look like that. But this is 2 out of 3 games, and Boston, if he doesn't start hitting 1 or 2 3-pointers at this point, would you take Marcus Smart or would you take Draymond Green? That's what they're worried about. And Clay on defense, they're trying to hide him, and they're trying to keep him off of Brown, and they're trying to keep him off of Curry. Trying to keep him off of Tatum. So, I picked them. So I can't go back, and I'm sticking with my pick. I picked them at 7, but that didn't look good.
T, let me ask you this, to keep it going with rapid fire and everything else, and to talk about the Golden State Warriors. I wrote down something that Dugar said yesterday. He said that they should keep them intact for the next 4 years after you're seeing the play in the finals. And the question I asked yesterday was, if they lost the series and everything else, should Golden State management keep the trio together? Dugar thought yesterday they would run it back for the next 4 years. After you've seen the game last night and you're seeing the series right now, do you agree or disagree with the statement that he was making that they should keep that trio together for the next 4 years?
I mean, he might have overshot it by a year or so, but I would keep them together. So because this season don't count for Clay. So to get a couple more good years out of Clay, you keep him there. Steph hasn't really lost his stride. And Draymond, to what Mike just said, problem is about Draymond is I'm not concerned with Draymond's offense because we know who he is. That's not what Draymond brings to your team. Draymond is defense. He's antagonistic. He gets the best players out of their brain, which helps in the game. Because basketball is 67% mental. We know that. So if I get into your mental, I'm pretty much, that's part of my defense on you. You keep the 3 together as long as you possibly can. 4 years might be a little late, because 4 years is a long time. So we don't know what deterioration is going to happen in the next 2 years, much less 4 years, stuff like that. To people talking about this 7-point play, I don't really believe that. I think technically people make things up because it sounds cute. Actually, it's 2 different plays.
It is.
Well, a 7-point possession. It's a 7-point possession.
Thank you. Because if you say 7-point play, that's for TV ratings right there. A 7-point play.
That would change the game. That would change the game.
Right. Yeah. Once I take my foul shot, that play's over.
Yeah, that's true.
That's middle of the play.
That's true. Fig, Golden State Warriors still had a great third quarter and everything else. Do you think that there's a possibility for them to be able to build on the third quarter possession? All 3 games, they had some great third quarters. Do you think they should build off those third quarters? Even last night, even though they lost the game, they came. Not only did they come back, they went up by 1 and everything else. And for some reason, they're still having great third quarters. Do you think they could build off of that?
Not off the third quarter alone. I think what the Golden State Warriors need to do is they need to start the game better and not allow themselves to get down so far into double-digit deficits before they decide to turn it on and play. But what gives me a lot of pause is we don't know the severity of Steph Curry's injury moving forward. So if he can't go at least at a high percentage, then the Golden State Warriors are in trouble. The only thing they could do is probably what I would do. I would go after one of the Celtics players and make sure that they go out on a stretcher, because this is the second time that accidentally Steph Curry got injured while playing the Boston Celtics. One is an accident. You do it a couple times, and now I'm starting to wonder, is this a pattern? Because this is the second time that he got injured on a hustle play, and they just so happen to roll over his ankle.
Oh my God.
I'm like, listen, I'm somebody. If it's my teammate, I'm going after somebody.
Oh my God.
If it's my teammate.
Oh my God.
It was an accident. I know. It was an accident.
Anyway,
2 times.
Anyway, you threw me for that. I forgot my damn question. Mike, can you want to respond to that? I forgot my damn question.
It just amazes me how a team with Draymond dirty ass Green is now gonna complain about a loose ball, and we're supposed to feel bad because Curry's fragile.
Oh, I don't feel bad.
like Curry.
I don't feel bad.
Like they just playing good defense.
No, that's not the part that guys me, Mike. The part that gets me is that 2 days ago, this is the same dude. Like, hey, it's NBA basketball. It's the playoffs. What's the playoffs? That's the same dude. It's the playoffs. All right, but go ahead. I'm sorry. You was
all right. Let me tell you.
Hey,
the guy who was the MVP for the Boston Celtics, and I never thought I would say this because I love him as a head coach. The MVP for the Celtics was Steve Kerr for taking out Steph Curry late in the third quarter. What are you doing? Like, what are you taking out Steph Curry? Like, I'm not even like really rooting for Golden State. I'm like, you're going to sit Curry right now? Look at the run that happened when you put Curry on. Like, I guess he started thinking that Klay Thompson was Klay Thompson again from 2 years ago, and he thought Klay Thompson could hold it down while Steph Curry was on the bench. Steve, like y'all was making the third quarter run as usual, and for some reason, Steve Kerr decided to do a detour and say, let's do something new. When we're doing this barrage in the third quarter, let me sit Curry down until the fourth quarter. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe that he did it. And
let's do something new.
And the funny thing is that as the Celtics came back, he never inserted Curry back in. He kept him there until the fourth quarter. And I'll say it to Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, as much as I criticized them, they both said this could be the game that you're sitting him down. And they were right. Because they never recovered from that. I don't think Curry do that again.
I don't think so either. Continue on with rapid fire. We're going to change the subject, stay in the NBA and everything else, though. T, in the last couple of days, they've been talking about the NBA and David. Oh my God, the NBA commissioner. I can't.
Adam Silver.
Alex Silver. He's been talking about having an in-season tournament right now, and they're thinking about trying to do it with the new CBA agreement that's happening right now. They're trying to have it implemented by the time the season starts. They want to have an in-season tournament, which sounds like to me that they're going to give people who are struggling in the playoffs a couple of more upper levels in the in-season tournament. Like, honestly, I don't like it at all. But what they're trying to do is obviously keep in excitement, like around Christmas and stuff for the NBA. Are you for the in-season tournament? That's a possibility that can happen in the NBA with the new CBA agreement, or are you against it and you like it the way they have it with the play-in tournament at the end of the season right now? What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, Lee, that don't sound better than what we did. What we got ain't perfect, but that don't sound like an upgrade. You know, when I hear stuff like that, it sounds like working in the corporate America, and they be walking around whispering heavy hints of a large layoff. Heavy hints? Who's getting fired? Like, this doesn't sound like an upgrade at all. It just sounds like you're reaching. I don't know. Maybe they want to try things with it, but an in-season tournament. I like the play-in because the play-in is exactly what it is when it is. You know, it's a play-in, and it's at the end, so we see who deserves to be in the play-in. You know what I mean? But in-season tournament, I don't even know how that would work. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is baffling. But Fig, in the same CBA agreement, right? They're talking about shortening the season and by taking off 10 to 15 games, and including it with the in-season tournament too. So I'm gonna ask you this: do you think the in-season tournament, along with the shortening of the season, would work for you as an NBA fan? Do you like that?
No. No. I don't know what an in-season. I need more details on what an in-season tournament entail and shortening the season. I mean, my God, man, I don't know, man. People say these guys play too long and whatever, but I don't know, man. I don't know what the new NBA is trying to do with all of this stuff, man. It's just like these guys are getting better and worse all at the same time because they can't seem to play 82 games healthy. And the older players with worse equipment, worse technology, worse healthcare, dieting and everything, they played 82 games and into the postseason. Hell, we had a couple teams that had three-peats and they were fine playing 82 games. This sitting down and guys needing whatever management it is. I think it all started with Popovich, man. It's just crazy. I don't get it.
All right, so Mike, let me ask you this. Let me throw this out to you. Shortening the season, in-season tournament, the playoff tournament, and everything else. Do you think the new CBA is going to allow the players to lengthen their career and break and shatter the record books the way we know it as now? How do you think it has effects?
I don't. All I'm reading is this. This is weird about this in-season tournament. It says here in the Athletic, it is unclear. This is what they say. It's unclear exactly when or how the league plans to implement such an event. So the NBA don't even know how they're going to implement this.
Yeah, because the CBA they're debating it at the CBA right now, so they don't know. We don't know. I'm just like, I don't even like the whole thought of it at all myself. I don't like it at all.
Are we missing something? Is the NBA losing money and we don't know about it, and somebody's cooking the books or something? Because I don't get like Talon said, the play-in was obvious. We know why the play-in, so more cities could be involved. So you could have like a Golden State and the Lakers still have a chance even when they're not. So you could have markets that could. I don't get this, dog.
You know what it could be? You know what it could be? It could be something around the All-Star game for them to make more money that they might attach it to, because the All-Star game is supposed to be a mid-season tournament. It might be them to put together the end-season tournament around the All-Star game to make that week much bigger to make more money. That's flat out what it could be. I don't see anything else other than that.
Adam Silver, I don't know, dog. I don't know if you. I don't know. You running the NBA the way I run my budget, and my budget ain't done too well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, shoot.
Wouldn't a play-in because we all know that when you're doing a playoff type situation, the teams play harder, more aggressive. If you do it in the middle of the season, wouldn't that put more wear and tear on the players as opposed to like, it don't make sense to me.
It makes sense along the lines of the NBA making more money. It don't make sense for them to do, though. You know what I mean? It just. You saying something, but you're on mute.
The thing that makes the least amount of sense about the thing is the whole point. Like the whole point of the playoffs is you play a season, you get to the end, we see who the best they're going to play. How will somebody make the playoffs in the middle of the season?
Yeah, is that going to be an automatic bid?
No matter what happened, the Knicks are in.
The end.
And you know that ain't gonna happen. You know that
we be 20-62, but we in because of February. Remember what we did in February.
All right, so since I got you up, your squares up, T. I'm gonna run through this real fast. Let me talk to me about what you think right now about Zach LaVine, because right now Zach LaVine is the hot topic, the hot commodity. Everybody's talking about him being and possibly moving for Chicago. Chances are 95% that he's going to be traded. Everything else, man. Where do you think Zach LaVine lands? My thing is, I'll tell you where I think he's going to land after you tell me where you think he's going to land. Where you see him going?
Believe it or not, do not be shocked if he don't go to Chicago, but to another team that kind of came close, like a Miami. I'm on an NBA watch of watching Miami and Chicago, because if they get anybody, that's everybody else. If that team stay the same, don't lose with anything, but get somebody else big to add on to it, that's the East. That's the whole East Conference right there.
Yeah,
one of them teams.
Fig, everybody tends to forget that for the first 2.5 months, Chicago was #1 seed in the Eastern Conference and everything else. Yeah. Why they trade him, I have no idea, but they look like they might trade him. What's your thought process on where you think Zach LaVine might land?
I heard rumors that they might be trying to get him in Los Angeles, man.
Wow.
That would be an athletic wing that would probably play along LeBron James and LaVine. He seems to be a player that is not ball dominant and doesn't need the ball that much. So I think he would work really good with LeBron and AD. Who they would give up to get him, I really don't know.
Yeah, that's scary, because my two teams was Miami and the Lakers. Mike, Zach LaVine is a great chance of, like I said, great possibility of getting ready to get traded. Besides the Lakers, besides Miami, can you shock us and tell us where you think he might go?
I couldn't find his contract. Is he under contract? Would they have to trade him, or he's still under contract?
He's under contract 1 more year.
Shoot, if I was Chicago, I'd ask Portland if they're willing to give up Damian Lillard, because you're going to lose him. Like, right. Damian's going to leave soon. He's not going to stay there forever. So maybe they could trade him to Portland and get Damian Lillard over there in Chicago. And I think that would be a trade. I don't know how the Lakers, unless Chicago's crazy enough to take Russell Westbrook's contract, I don't know how the Lakers would pull that off. Like, I don't know how they could make that happen. But real quick on that tournament that you said, the in-season tournament the NBA was talking about, were they doing that during the All-Star break or doing that during Christmas, around Christmas time?
They haven't finalized it. I suggested that it possibly might be around All-Star break because it's the only time it makes sense to me. I don't know.
Because I'm wondering if the NBA is trying to shake things up because the NFL is going hard for Christmas. Pause. And the NFL is going to have a lot of games Christmas Day, and all of a sudden that's going to be competing against the NBA because I know the Eagles and the Cowboys are scheduled to play Christmas Day. So maybe that's why the NBA is trying to shake things up and do what they can do. Because once the NFL gets involved, I love the NBA. But once the NFL gets involved, I'm sorry, y'all. I got gambling to do. I'm sorry. Yeah. I got gambling to do.
Hey, everybody does. That's you know what, Mike? That's a great point.
Everybody do not have gambling to do. Frank, you are not gambling.
No, I'm
that's just us. That's just us.
Yo,
Frank, they will throw Frank ass out of a casino with $1. He going there with that $1?
No, a Pepsi.
Hey, Talent. Frank gamble like the Dukes.
I do.
$1.
I do. Matter of fact,
all right, Mortimer. All right, Mortimer.
Randolph and Mortimer.
Like that. I put up a Pepsi. I'm like, yo, if y'all down to bet for a Pepsi, I'm down for that.
Let me tell you something. I got a stack on this finals here, man. I got one stack.
Hey Frank, don't be a big spender. A Pepsi is $2.50. You don't want to break the bank.
No, a Pepsi around my neighborhood is $1. So
hey, if a Pepsi's $2.50, you mean 2 Pepsis is a gallon of gas?
Real tough.
Maybe I should bet a gallon of gas. All right, so look, T, let's jump into that rapid fire of the NFL, man. I'm gonna start out with this real fast. All right, so today I ended up jotting down a lot of things because I wanted to get through a lot of stuff today. I wanted to go through some of these things, and let's start off with first. I'm gonna start off with you, T. Carson Wentz is now at the Washington Commanders and everything else. Carson Wentz, to me, I don't know about you. To me, this is his last go around as a starting QB. If he doesn't make it, you know what I mean, as a starting QB and doesn't have a successful season for the Washington Commanders, even though it's his third team in 3 years, I think he's going to be forever as a backup QB. What's your take on Carson Wentz? Where do you think he's going to show up? How do you think he's going to do with the Washington Commanders? What's your take, T?
Well, I'd be shocked if he shows up, man. I think, before he came into the league, he worked as just like my man that was on the Rams, Warner. They both worked in the supermarkets.
Right.
So I think 2 more seasons of how horrible he playing. Back to whence he came. This dude right here. No, I think that he should have been good by now. Even after the injury, he had ample time to come back. I know injuries take time, but even after he came back, it's just something about him that, and a lot of times with big injuries like that, it's more mental than physical. Yeah. It's something going on that we're seeing a whole different Wentz than when they was putting them next to Dak and all them when they were all coming up, and it was like, oh, this Wentz. You know what I mean? Like he was, and I watched him. He was good. He was everything they were saying he was. And then the injury comes, and we haven't seen nothing close to it. So the fact that he's on the Commanders, to be honest with you, bro, there's no gray area. That's either a great thing or a horrible thing. And I think it might not be so good.
Okay. Fig, not Carson Wentz. Baker Mayfield was officially excused from attending mandatory minicamp next week. To you, is the writing on the wall for him to be traded? What you think?
Somebody must have made an offer or something because listen, Deshaun Watson ain't probably not going to play the first couple games. How you excuse? Well, you know what? Let me backtrack on that. Baker Mayfield been there for a few years. He knows the system frontwards and backwards. Does he really have to be there? You know what I mean? In order to galvanize with the team, he got the same team. He got the same coaches and stuff like that. So maybe he doesn't have to actually be there. But guess what? They gonna have to pay him whether he show up or not, because that contract is guaranteed.
That's very true. That's very true. Mike, since you're in Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, head coach, is this his last go round?
Well, I'm in Jersey, but I wasn't Dallas. I'm in Jersey. I was in Dallas. Yeah, I was in Dallas.
Same
But he
fireplace.
felt some sort of way. Mike was like, "What?"
Same fireplace. Same fireplace. Mike McCarthy, though, bro, you think this is his last shot, man? If he doesn't get the team at least to the NFC Championship, you think he gets fired last go round?
Dog, who knows with Jerry Jones? First of all, can we all admit that the Commanders sound like they should be playing in the USFL? Like they should not be in the NFL. The Commanders sound like a name of a team that you make up on Madden. Like you make up your own team and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make up the Commanders. They do not sound like they're supposed to be in the NFL. It's horrible.
It sounds like the Expendables.
Yeah,
Yes.
like I don't even know. God, of all the things you could have named the team, you don't know with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a very stubborn owner, and when he makes a choice, like he stood by Jason Garrett for what, like 6 years, 7 years. Like he stood by him. I don't know what the Cowboys are doing because their team is worse this year than they were last year. After everybody they lost and they let go, and Amari Cooper and Zeke is on his last year. Ezekiel Elliott, this is his last year with the Cowboys. After this, it's a wrap. I feel bad for Dak because Dak has lost a weapon. They're going to rely on young wide receivers who are very talented, but they're going to rely on them to carry this team into the playoffs. And Mike McCarthy, long story longer, Mike McCarthy will probably be there for another 4 years because Jerry Jones is stubborn as hell. Like he shouldn't be there, but Mike McCarthy will probably be there because of Jerry Jones' stubbornness.
Yeah, he probably will. Saquon Barkley is literally supposed to be better. He's supposed to have to be healthy and everything else. Should the Giants trade him now while he still has great availability? All right, you think so? Go ahead, expand on that, man.
Get rid of this Negro ASAP. Saquon Barkley for Charles Barkley today. You know what I mean? Crazy. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. They should. Because this guy right here, we have in New York on the Giants, I can't tell you the last good backs, consistent backs we had. But Saquon, it's a good time for if you're administration, you're working in the back office, and this is what you do. This is a no-brainer. Now, if you're down in the coaching field, they may beg to differ because for whatever reason, the New York Giants, they be keeping hope alive with these backs for a long time. Like people be walking on these backs. They still, no, he's gonna come around. We're gonna come around where? Ain't no more corners to come around. So if I'm the willing and dealing guy, yes, I'm getting rid of Saquon now. Don't wait because you know how that is. You get behind the ball and you end up being stuck with him or a bad situation. I don't see him getting any greater. He's a decent back, but if you can unload right now, because Giants are rebuilding, I would.
Yeah. Okay. Fig, Jimmy G also got excused from mandatory minicamp next week. He got excused too. They asked him not to show up. Do you think he's on the trading block right now?
I don't think Jimmy G is going to get traded until he gets healthy. I really don't. I don't think anybody's going to take on a contract of Jimmy G or give him a contract until they get those medicals. That's the big thing with Jimmy G. It's not his play. It's his health. You know what I mean? Same thing with Saquon Barkley. It's not his play, really. It's his health. When he's healthy, he plays decent. He can break a big play. He's a playmaker. Health is really the issue with Jimmy G.
Okay. Mike, the Colts made a drastic change this year. They end up getting Matt Ryan. They also got Nick Foles. And both of those guys know Frank Reich very, very well. Do you see the Colts doing better, worse? Where do you see them doing that now since they got obviously Matt Ryan and a system that they obviously know? What do you think? How do you think the Colts going to end up doing this year?
I think they do better, but all these excuses, do they actually hand these people like letters and stuff like that? Like you're excused from like what is going on with these? Like, is there a hall monitor that you like, yo, I'm excused, I'm out of here? Like, what? I don't know what's going on. And number two, real quick, I feel so bad for Saquon Barkley. I'm so sorry that the Giants ruined your career. Like, I'm so sorry you had to play behind that whack offensive line and get your ass beat. This man ran for 1,300 yards his rookie season. He was about to have a career, and he got stuck with Big Blue, my team. The Colts will do better, but they're not going to do good enough because the AFC is loaded. The AFC is loaded, and between Matt Ryan and Nick Foles, I mean, they're like 80 together. Like, eventually your backup is going to be as fragile as your starting quarterback right now. So good luck, but you ain't beating Denver. Good luck. You ain't beating Kansas City. You ain't beating there's a load of teams. Like, I don't even think they're gonna be able to beat Miami at this point, how loaded the AFC is right now, and the Raiders and the Bengals and everybody else over there.
Yeah. So T, the Washington Commanders ended up making the news yesterday for the last 24 hours because defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio used to also be a head coach. He came out and said that he thought the Capitol insurrection was a dust up. Like, he really confirmed, because he came out his neck and said that. Then he put out an apology and everything else, talking about, I didn't mean it. Basically, I know the Capitol insurrection was a lot more serious than everything else. People have been claiming and literally writing in and doing a campaign to get Jack Del Rio fired because they're really upset that he said the Capitol insurrection was a dust up. How do you think the Washington Commanders should handle Jack Del Rio after his unusual comments in his apology? How do you think the Washington Commanders?
I find it very funny how these people, and I'm just going to say these people because you can't put them in one box. You can't put them in the racist box, the hard right and all that. You can't put them. There's so many different things going on. Just call them these people. I just think it's funny how you maneuver through life as long as you can. It don't even matter. Who you are will come out in one damn sentence. People think you're the upstanding citizen. We never have any problems with this guy. And here comes that one sentence out of nowhere one day. Somebody asks you a random question. Yeah, all niggas look like monkeys. He'd be like, and you know, went over this guy. You ate at his house. Your kids had slumber party. All of a sudden, all niggas look like monkeys. And it hits you in the face. You don't know these people, bro. Like they move among. What was that movie? They walk amongst us, something. But they move amongst us like regular people. And everything else, they got it down pat. They work hard on being seen as normal. They work hard. They keep their lawn, the mow the lawn, water the grass. I walk my dogs. We laugh at the barbershop, all of that. And then one day, some random moment comes and they say that sentence, whatever it is for them. Well, just grab them by the pussy. And the problem is, Frank, part of my French, the problem is not the beginning of the problem is catching these people with these little things, right? But then the real problem is, like, I hate to say it, but 4 or 5, President 4 or 5, the fact that you become successful off of these things, that sends a message down the line that I don't have to change or adhere to nothing because everything's cool. Because look, he did it and he got rewarded for it. So I'm gonna do it. So this dude right here, he's not the only one that thinks that's done. There's a few of them in there that read that was like, word up. They agree with it, and then heck the press. Shame on you, and they're like, whoa, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, bad. Exactly. We got caught.
That's bad. I agreed with it. So I think
it's only a comedy show where you could end up thinking the funny with what he just said, Jack Del Rio.
That's crazy.
I can't believe you let him get away with that, yo. You let him say Jack Del Rio and insurrection in the same sentence, and you said nothing.
Listen, man, I'm so caught up on the whole dust stuff because this stuff happens all the time. Like, they really feel the way they feel, but if people know that their opinion's not popular, right? A lot of times, see, that's the difference of what we do for a living. We still blurt it out there and test the waters. And we don't care if 60% of the room agrees with me. I'll take that. That's a win. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how we look at it. We play the numbers. But people in everyday life, they feel like, if I know my opinion's unpopular, I'm not going to say nothing. Let these people think what they think about me and let it fly like that because they scared to say it and jeopardize their job, their livelihood, their neighbors, how they feel about them, all that. And this is one of them lines. You got caught out there. And I bet when he said it, he didn't even think he said nothing wrong.
Oh, he was casual. You got to see the video, Talent. He was casual. You got to see the video.
Hold on, Mike. The video was casual. Go ahead, Jake. I'm going to throw it out there to you. Jack Del Rio ended up saying that the Capitol insurrection, which this country was thinking that we were teetering on a civil war, literally was a dust up.
Yo, that's crazy.
Greg, should he get fired? Should he get fired?
Yeah, man, listen, here's the thing. There's so many people in power that are saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
How could you just fire him? You would have to fire everybody. You know how many people said, "Oh, it was a casual walk through the Capitol." It was like they was there on like they were just visiting and just looking around the Capitol. There was people who wanted to kill the vice president. They had a noose outside. If they found Pence, they were going to hang him. They were banging on doors looking for Nancy Pelosi because they wanted to kill this old woman. And they calling that a dust up? Yeah, Frank, I don't know if you remember. I said this country was on the verge of a civil war. You was like, nah. I was like, yeah, it is. Because these fools is crazy. They crazy, and they go and get all these guns and stuff. Everybody loading up on guns and automatic weapons because they literally think that there's going to come a time when they're going to need to fight against the military of the United States government. And that's why they got all these automatic weapons and these arsenals. They got food stacked away, rations where they can have it. Yo, Frank, they crazy, yo.
Hey, Fig. How the funniest part of it is when Fig said it crazy, he looked crazy. He take a beat. Fig goes, they crazy.
Yo, they out of their mind, yo. Yo, these fools, they are gone. If you think that you got enough weapons to fight the military government, you have lost it.
Yeah,
Mike, do you think Jack Del Rio should get fired, bro, after he made this comment? Because we're calling for his job.
Well, in breaking news, he also said the Rodney King video was just a scuffle. And he said slavery was a miscommunication. The epitome of this video, is that he says he was comparing it. He had compared it to rioters who had burned buildings down. And he said, like, what happened at the Capitol? Nothing got burned down. No, people died. People actually died in the insurrection. They actually died.
Right.
And then he had the nerve to say, the way I look at it, the way the rioters acted, the way that dust up happened, there's a double standard. Bitch, welcome to America. It's been a double standard. Mm-hmm. And you've benefited from the double standard from the beginning of time. But when you watch the video, I tell anybody watching, just watch the video so it proves Talon's point. The casual way he said it is that he truly believed it. And this is why I don't want an apology from you. Don't apologize, because what I saw was somebody who has said this a million times. You just screwed up and said it in front of cameras. That's all you screwed up for. Now, Fig is right. Firing him, you know how many people we got to fire? But my thing as a football organization, how does that man now lead a defense that's a majority of black men? How does he actually go back into that locker room and try and tell those black men what to do when you just said a bunch of racist supremacists ran up in the Capitol and was a dust-up?
You know why? You know why, Mike? Because the name of the team is the Commanders and their quarterback is G.I. Joe.
It's ridiculous, though. It's ridiculous. I don't know how you keep them. The Commanders need to be sold. They crazy.
They crazy. The Commanders are and they go out there. They got a lot of these. But one day, Frank, I'm telling you,
yo, hey, I'm telling you, I'm calculating it. I got this whole thing measured.
Oh my God.
All right, y'all. If y'all haven't can tell by now, this is a comedy show where we talk about sports, and these guys have no holds barred. Like they just they leave it out there, and they crazy. These boys are crazy. T, tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Hey, please follow me, people. Please, this weekend I'll be at the House of Laughs, Delaware's, Wilmington, Delaware's House of Laughs. Myself, Joe Claire, and Timothy Hall, and Breakouts hosting that. So Friday and Saturday, catch us there. Late night Saturday with 10 o'clock show. We sliding over to Philadelphia to the Punchline to celebrate Touré's birthday. Yeah, the
Oh,
big
nice.
birthday comedy thing this weekend. So holla at your boy, Talent the Comedian, on Instagram.
I appreciate that, Fig.
Hey man, Talent stuff sounds a lot better than anything I'm doing. I'm going with him. Hey, if you want to know where to find Talent, follow me at Comedian Fig on all social media platforms, and I'll tell you where he is.
Okay. Mike, are you a stalker too? I just want to know.
Nah, I stalk all y'all. Check me out in the morning time. Download Media Room 360 or check it out on YouTube. Michael Sean and the Takeover Legends on YouTube in the morning time, 7 a.m. Rock out with us, and then please go check out the Jack Del Rio video. Please go.
Yeah,
Google that video, please.
It is something else.
Right.
That's tomorrow's show. We are going to talk about more stuff with the NBA Finals. We're going to talk about more possible trades, everything else. We're going to talk about literally some things that we've been talking about the last couple of days of possible trades and stuff like that, possible mix and match and everything else. We're going to do all that while we also get ready to do a preview of Game 4 for the NBA Finals, which is going to be Friday. Y'all watching Box Seats. This is the show where we talk about sports with comedians. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.